Yes, sir.
Yeah, please start the recording. Good evening, all. Myself, CMA Vinayak Kulkarni and CMA Ashish Bhavsar welcome you for the series on webinar on Excel macro. Today is the second session of this series. The topic covered in today's session is defining a variable, modifying variable, for next loop, R1 C1 notation. Our speaker for the entire series is Shri Nachiket Pendakar sir, Microsoft certified trainer and Excel expert. Before I hand over to him, I will request you all, we will give the Google form in chat box. I request all to fill the Google form for CEP attendance. Also, you please mention your membership number and name in chat box for confirmation. Sir, over to you. Nachiket sir?
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, sir, for starting today's session and setting the tone, also enlisting the topic for the day. And uh, we will get started. I believe many participants have joined. So I would like to get started immediately. Although I said that we'll start immediately, but we'll have a quick recap. It has been 3 or 4 days since we had our first quarter. So let's have a quick recap of what we did last time. Okay, and for that purpose, I would like to share my screen. So I hope my screen is visible to everybody. Okay, so this was the first file which we worked upon. The file was one, Introduction to Excel Macros, which was a .xlsx file to begin with. If you remember, we began with an Excel file, but then at a later point of time, we created a copy of the same, which was a macro-enabled workbook. Okay, so from a .xlsx file, we saved it as a .xlsm file, that is macro-enabled worksheet. So you can see the type maybe in the Explorer. And there is a change in the file name also, what I had suggested, just to have a very clear-cut display. We can put up a suffix called with macro. Okay, so there is a file with macro, which implies the other file is without macro, and that's a plain .xlsx file. So what exactly did we do with macro file? So this is what we did. I opened the file, and actually I'm using a slightly different device, and this also gives me an opportunity to re-demonstrate how we enabled the developer tab, because we know that if you are a little serious about writing macros, then we must have a developer tab, which is a dedicated tab exclusively for developers, that is programmers in Excel environment. How to do that? Just in case somebody is not sure, then you can click on File tab. Okay. Some of you may have joined today for the okay. Today might be the first session for some of you. I'm just doing a recap also. Just requesting everyone to keep your mics on mute mode, please. Please set your mics on mute mode. And whenever some doubt comes in your mind, you can temporarily unmute yourself. But after speaking your doubt, you remute yourself. So by and large, throughout the session, barring the doubts or some comments or some questions, primarily keep yourself on mute mode so that we will avoid background noises and okay. I think some people are still not on mute mode. So requesting everybody to stay muted. Okay, PC has option. I'm just not having the option of muting everybody. Just requesting everyone, please check for yourself. And if you are not on mute mode already, Okay, please keep the mic on mute. Okay, video may
Yes,
still
sir.
be.
You can continue now. You can continue now.
Okay, thank you, sir. So here we are. I'll repeat. So my point is I want to enable the developer tab. So I'll come to file tab first. In file we have now this was the issue with some more people that more was visible. So if more is visible, you click on that and eventually it will show options. Okay, if you see more dot dot dot, just click on that and somewhere you will locate options and there you go to customize ribbon. In customize ribbon, we already have the developer tab, but by default it is unticked. So you must tick it. Okay, this green color, this tab actually, this checkbox developer, just tick it and then press OK. And when you do so, you get this tab. Okay, a separate dedicated tab just for development purposes. Come to developer tab and if you click on Visual Basic, then this macro opens up. We developed this macro the other day. Right? You might be remembering. How did we develop this macro? Because this macro is written in VBA language. Are we familiar with VBA language? The answer is no. Does that mean we cannot write macros? Again, the answer is no. You may not be a programmer, you may not have learned VBA ever, and you probably don't aspire to become a programmer as far as your full-time occupation is concerned. All this doesn't really preclude you from writing macros, at least to make a meaningful step and to aid you. Microsoft has given you a record macro button. So what we did the other day, if you recall, we clicked on this record macro button and then we gave a name and then we press the OK button. Right now, I'm not going to press the OK button. But the idea is when you press OK, this record macro gets off, starts off, and then it keeps recording your actions. You are supposed to perform actions, you are supposed to do your work as usual. And if you do so, in the background, automatically code, and this kind of a code gets developed. Okay, very quickly, I'll read through this code once more just to make everybody familiar. Okay. Um, in case you don't have this file right now, some of you might be new joiners. It's okay. Probably I'll arrange to share this file to you by day after tomorrow. You will have it. Okay, just as a standard thing. But we are not going to work with this code today. However, I'm still reading it just to build the reading ability and just to discuss the command. So, as mentioned the other day, we have sub at the top. The last one is end sub. Okay, sub followed by end sub at the end. This is your macro. Starting from the subroutine amount verification and the subroutine ends over here. In between lies your program. In between whatever you write will be executed the moment this macro is triggered. Okay. Now within that, the color coding is very important. The blue colored codes and black colored codes are executable. Okay, remember it this way. You cannot assign any color as per your choice. This is not equivalent to font color in Excel. You can't change the font color. Your font color automatically gets assumed. The blue and the black ones are executable. The green ones, although they are present in your macro, they are non-executable. There might be green colored lines. They are non-executable and they are supposed to serve as programmers' comments or remarks. And they start with a single inverted comma. Conversely, if this is a valid black colored line and then you put a single inverted comma at the beginning, it will turn green. Okay, so something that could be black or blue, something that could be executable can be disabled by placing a single inverted comma at the beginning. I will take this step several times as we progress. Okay, but to begin with, we have this green one and black one and blue one. We'll take them as they come. Okay. Sorry, somebody was asking something? Or someone asking
You can
something?
continue.
Okay, I may continue, right? Okay. Right. My screen is not visible. I saw that as a message. So I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen sharing visible? Now is it visible? Okay, I sometimes keep switching, I come back to MS Teams just to check whether anybody has put any question in the chat box. Okay, so that's where you might temporarily feel that the screen is not visible. Okay, but now I hope it is visible. Moving on. Huh. So four colors are possible. I was talking about colors: blue colored code, black colored code, both are executable. Green is non-executable, and red one. Just pray to God that you should never encounter the red one. But then I'm quite sure that you will definitely encounter the red one. If you see anything in red color, that means a syntax error. Okay, red colored line is a syntax error. That means you wrote some code which maybe according to you sounds correct, but Excel is not ready to support that. Excel is not able to understand what you have written. So Excel flashes a syntax error, and how does it flash the syntax error? By way of a color. Red colored one means danger, and that means the macro won't take off. Don't even bother to test it. It will simply not take off. So you must fix your red colored lines first. Unless you fix them, macro won't even get started. Okay. In the language of accounting, it is like a posting error or a casting error. Your balance sheet won't tally, right? If there is a posting error or casting error, your balance sheet won't tally. Okay. No point in trying to test for the errors of principle. Okay, errors of principle will come later. First, fix your posting errors and casting errors. Okay. We'll come to that part a bit later. Okay. There is a subtle difference between the blue colored lines and black colored lines that also I will discuss at a later point of time. Okay. Let me stick to this particular code, this particular section. So that day we had done an activity, okay, with respect to this data. Okay, some activity was done. And what did I do? So range A1 dot select, I said, like as I did the action, this code got generated automatically. Range A1 dot select. If I have to mimic it, let's say I might be somewhere over here. Okay, but thanks to this line, when it gets executed, this is the first real line because the other previous lines are green in color. So this is the first real executable code. And what does it say? Range A1 dot select. So if I stand somewhere over here, I can simply reach to A1. Okay, my cell pointer will go to A1. And then we have selection dot current region dot select. Those who are present will recall I had mentioned about control asterisk. So on pressing control asterisk, the entire array gets selected. Then what do I say? Selection dot columns dot autofit. Okay, so this is going to autofit the column. Then range I1 dot select. That is the next line. The codes are fairly self-explanatory if you pay attention. If you know your English and if you know Excel, then they are most of the times they are self-explanatory. So range I1 dot select, pretty self-explanatory line. I1 dot select. So where is I1? Here's I1. I come to I1, and what do I do over there? To begin with, these two columns are empty. Okay, so just to mimic it, I keep the columns empty. So I1 cell to begin with is empty, and the next line says active cell dot formula R1 cell equal to my amount. My active cell is I1 thanks to the selection of I1 in the previous line, and there the formula to be entered is this. Although the command is used for formula, primarily it is a text. So this text gets borrowed and gets pasted or gets deposited over here, my amount. Okay. Then the next pair of lines is similar to that. Range J1 dot select, then J1 automatically becomes the active cell. And in that cell, what will you do? You will put DIFF as the value. So I'll go to J1. I'm already at J1, and over there I'll put DIFF. Okay, this is an action replay of what we did that day. Then when I press enter, I come to I2 automatically. So I2 gets selected. That's my next line. Range I2 dot select. Okay, and then with this we discussed as a superfluous code. Application dot cut copy mode equal to false. Should it get generated? Ideally no, but for some inexplicable reason which I can't figure out, which I can't share with you. I mean, I'm truly clueless. This line got generated. Although it's a harmless line, what this line does is it's equivalent to pressing an escape key. You reach to I2 cell and then you press an escape key. I strongly remember I did not press that key, but its equivalent code is generated. Even if I press escape key or if I don't, doesn't really matter. So in the interest of academic studies, I'm not really deleting this line, but it's not serving any purpose and it's a superfluous code. Okay, sometimes macro recorder does generate some code which is superfluous and we don't know why exactly they were generated. The real line is this one, active cell dot formula R1C1, and then we discuss the concept of R1C1 notation. Okay, it was in today's official agenda, but it's a fundamental concept, so probably we can discuss it today also. So equal to RC into square bracket minus 7 multiplied by RC into square bracket minus 6. Okay, pronouncing the square bracket is very important. Okay, so about my active cell, I'm putting a formula such that it's going to refer to two cells. One cell is in the same row but 7 columns behind, and the other cell is in the same row but 6 columns behind. In between is the operator multiplication sign. That means I'm supposed to take the first cell and the second cell and then multiply them with each other. Okay, but which cell will this be? I can't tell anything in certainty because it all depends on the active cell. Which is your active cell? About the active cell, we'll go 7 columns to the left. So as per, if I trace the previous lines, my active cell is I2, right? So standing on I2, I put an equal to sign and I go 7 cells to the left, 7 columns to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we are. Okay. So about I2, it refers to B2. Then I put a multiplication sign and in the same row, 6 columns to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is what we saw. Okay. Ordinarily, we call this formula as B2 into C2, but when we turn on the recorder and in the language of recording or in the language of VBA, it gets translated to RC into square bracket minus 7 and RC into square bracket minus 6. Okay, everyone is clear on this part? When I hit enter, I get this value. Okay. Some of you might be wondering that why exactly have we done that? I mean, is it even serving any purpose? Why to learn a new system of referring to cells when the existing system is doing quite good, right? You have paved your way all the whatever level. Okay, you must have achieved some degree of proficiency in Excel. You have done that comfortably without the knowledge of R1C1 notation. So why are we learning R1C1 notation? It's a question that will come to your mind. If it hasn't come already, it will definitely come to your mind in future. I will try to answer that at every level of our learning. Okay, to begin with, I would like to demonstrate. I will take a pause as far as this recorded macro is concerned. I'll come back to this again. But you remember that day we had converted our ABCD notation. Right? These ABCD columns are there, and the default notation is what is known as A1 notation. Okay, this notation of referring to cells is known as A1 notation. If I turn to R1C1 notation, how would it look like? Let's have a look. How to turn it on, first of all. So you'll go to File. Okay, again, I'm revising. This is not something that we are not aware or we had not discussed. I'm not discussing anything new, but just revising. File, then if required, click on More. Else, if you can see options immediately, then you click on the options. Okay. And then on options, we have formulas. File options, formulas. And then we have working with formulas as the section. Okay, we have a section called working with formulas. And there I will take this R1C1 reference time. Okay, R1C1 reference time is the is what we take. By default, it is unticked. If you are using Excel, if you stick only to Excel without going into macros ever, and then you may go to any level of your degree of command over Excel, you will never need R1C1 reference. Okay, learn any function, learn pivot tables to any extent, learn the different tabs to any extent. You will not require R1C1 reference time. But the day you decide I want to write macros and I want to really learn how to write macros, then this becomes really a fundamental lesson. We discussed that in the first session itself. And today also I would like to spend a few minutes on that. So I take this R1C1 reference style and I press OK. Now, the same formula B2 into C2 gets translated to that exact expression. The exact expression that we have, which is, where has it gone? Yeah. RC into square bracket minus 7 multiplied by RC square bracket minus 3. Okay. Now, why do I shower so much praises on this notation, especially from the context of macros building? That's because if you drag this formula below, we have that step in macro at a later point. But let me demonstrate now itself. If I double click here and if I drag it till the bottom, I get different values. This is not a new experience for us. But I would like to show to you that if you press F2 here, it is this formula. If you go to the next cell, again it's the same formula. Go to the next cell, again it is the same formula. In every cell, it is the same formula. You can come to the formulas tab if you prefer. And you can always say show formulas. Okay, in formulas tab, somewhere we have show formulas. Okay, show formulas is a feature in Excel as a part of formulas tab, as a part of formula auditing group. Okay, show formulas, if you click on that, then all the formulas open up at once. And if you come to this column, you can see it is exactly the same formula copied from top to bottom. You did a copy paste, right? So why should the formula change? The formula remains exactly the same. And this is going to be advantageous to me. That doesn't happen with my A1 notation. In A1 notation, every row it's a different formula, right? B2 into C2, B3 into C3, B4 into C4, and so on. Correct? In every cell, it's going to be an expression which is turning out to be different from row to row. At a meaning level, at a conceptual level, it's the same, but the way it is written in terms of its draft, it is varying. In R1C1 notation, it doesn't vary. Okay, that is one big plus point that R1C1 notation. And this is one big reason why I would like to use this in my macros. Okay, I'll just come to formulas and just deselect this show formulas. So I come to normal view. Okay, this is something I copy pasted just now. But to begin with, my macro is like this. I return to my macro. Here I am. Okay, this is the formula. Then I went to J2 and I did not do much different. There was this redundant, this irrelevant course. I'm skipping that. I'll come to the relevant line. This is the line. Fundamentally, I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting some formula. The formula is slightly different. It reads as RC into square bracket minus 3 minus RC into square bracket minus 1. Okay. So what we are doing is we are using the R1C1 notation again. Now we know how to read this, right? RC into square bracket minus 3 means what? Same row, 3 columns to the left. But where are we standing? We are standing at J2, right? We are standing at J2 and then we put this formula, don't we? So stand at J2. J2 is going to be, J column will be the 10th column and second row. So that's going to be this position. We'll go 3 columns to the left minus 1 column to the left. Okay, that's exactly what the formula implies at. I get 0. The value could be 0 or anything that gets generated. And then range I2 colon J2 dot select. I2 and J2 is to be selected. And then those who were present last time will have memories. But towards the end, I just manipulated this a bit. What I did was I got some default value over here by way of recording. I think J11 or something. It went only till the 11th row. But what if I have more data? Keeping that in mind, I gave an arbitrary number 10,000. I'm saying you start the formula from the second row and you go up to the 10,000 row. Okay, that is what I have written in this code. Okay, if I have to really implement that, what I'll do is it's as good as this way. If I click and drag, it will take time. So I'm just going to make use of go to command. I'm going to say uh, in go to command, I'll write here. So basically, I'm talking about the second row and ninth column. Okay, so R2C9, second row and ninth column. From there, I start, and then I'm going to go till 10,000 row. This 10,000 row, and the column is going to be the 10th column. Okay, this happens to be my range. Okay, this is a range which I have written very quickly in R1 C1 notation. I hope you are following this. Okay, R2 C9 means second row, ninth column, which is I2 cell basically, and R10,000 C10. The numbers are written without any square bracket. When I press OK, that much range gets highlighted. If I press enter, I've already copied. You might have noted it. I already copied and then I selected the range using go to window. When I hit enter, it gets pasted. So thanks to my command, what will happen? Thanks to my command, the formula will be dragged till the 10,000th row. Whether it makes sense or it doesn't, whether it is required or it is not required. It may be much beyond your data. My data is only till row number 16. But still, it goes up to row number 10,000. What I've done here is I've defined an arbitrarily large number. Okay, we ended at this node. We defined an arbitrarily large number so that we don't have to keep changing this number. Okay. We are always starting at the second row, that is correct. But for how many rows should we drag this? One idea was every time you come across a new data set, you check how many records are there, and accordingly you put the number. Another idea was if your expected data is 200, 300, or 500 rows, to be on a safer side, why shouldn't we put 10,000? Okay, so then in any case, we will not escape the processing, like we will not miss on the processing of any record. Maybe we will put some extra formulas, I can always delete them. But all records will be processed for sure. Okay, that's the logic behind this thinking, right? So somebody might feel comfortable, okay, let me modify it every time I run and I want a clean output. Somebody may say that, okay, even if there are some extra formulas, that much unclean output I'm okay with, but I don't want to even leave it to chance that I'll miss out on any record. You may adopt either of the two approaches, but any approach in any case is not perfect and there is room for improvement. So the $1,000,000 question is, if I have got 16 rows, can I write the command suitably so that it stops at the 16th row, doesn't proceed beyond 16th row? If I have got 200 rows, it should stop at 200, neither at 199 nor at 201, but precisely it should stop at 200 and it should finish so that I'll get it clean. And then every day it could be a new number. Okay, every day it could be a different number. That should not be a problem. The macro should be flexible enough to adjust for it. Okay. Can we have something like that? Okay. So that is our next, that's something we would like to explore if that's possible. And at that note, we ended. Okay. With this question, we ended that day. Okay. So this is a recap of what we did last time in about 20 minutes or 25 minutes. So, anybody has any questions with respect to what we did last time? Okay. There is a reminder for embedding icon or button for macro. So I'll just show that. Okay. Thanks, Kuljit for the reminder. So how to assign the macro to a button or to an icon, something like that. So you can see that. So one idea is you go to the developer tab. You can go to this macros button. You can recall your macro. Okay, so I think I've got another file open. I'll quickly close that file. Got some extra file and that's creating some extra list. Okay. So now if I see Alt F8 is the keyboard shortcut based on macro. You can always recall this window by pressing Alt F8. Okay. But to make the life of a person very easy, can you create a clickable button? So if you want to put a clickable button, you can go to developer tab. Okay, those who were present last time can try this with me. Okay, not only they can, but they should or they must. Okay, those who were present last time, you must do this with me. Whatever macro you have developed, okay, whatever Kacha Pakka macro is developed, okay, least that you can do is just assign it to a button. That's very easy. Please try it with me. Come to developer tab. Okay, in developer tab, can you see this insert? Okay, we have a drop down over here, insert controls. I hope everyone can see that. You click on that, there are a variety of form controls, but let us right now stick only to the button, which is the very first one, which is one of the form controls. We'll go for this button. Okay, can everyone see the button, the first form control? So the very first icon over here, you click on that. Okay, I'll repeat, go to developer, insert, and then you click on this button. Yeah, I hope everybody can figure that out and locate. And then come to your Excel sheet. Now you can see your mouse pointer. Your mouse pointer has become an ultra slim black plus. Okay, go anywhere on the sheet at any suitable point. I would like to take it beyond the 10th column. Okay, somewhere beyond the 10th column, maybe over here. And then you can click and drag and accordingly draw a rectangle of a suitable size. Let's say this one. Okay, draw a rectangle. You end up drawing a rectangle of some suitable size, something like this, and then release. Okay, when you create a button, Excel asks you, do you wish to assign a macro to it? Now, if your macro is ready, you can assign it. If your macro is not ready, you can press the cancel button. Even if you press the cancel button, that means there will be a button in the worksheet without any assigned macro. You can then develop a macro and assign it to the button anytime later also. Okay, so there is no hard and fast rule about it. Right now, my macro is ready. So I'm just going to indicate this, that this is the macro I'm talking about. Okay, which macro would I like to assign? This is the macro which I already have ready. Please assign that to the button. I highlight it and press OK. When I do so, I get a button here. Okay, now it has been brought to the click of a button, literally. You click the button and the macro will trigger. Okay, you can click and try. Like if I highlight uh, this ninth column and 10th column, if I highlight and press delete key. Okay, don't press control minus. You press the delete key and just clear it. You press control minus, then your button will be shifting. And that will be another issue. But right now, I just press delete key and I clear it. Now, if I click on this button, I got a button called button one. If I click on this button, does it give me an output? Yes or no? Have you brought the triggering of the macro to the click of that button? Okay. Just click on that and see whether that works. Okay. Okay, if it's working, then that's good. But then button one is not a great caption. I've got a caption called button one. Button one means what? What is that button going to do? It should not be simply button one. That's because this may not be the only button. Then you might insert more buttons. If there are going to be multiple buttons, what is this button going to do? You must indicate that, right? What this button is going to do. So you just do a right click on this button. Okay, we have clicked it once. Now let us do a right click. If you do a right click, you get a chance to edit text. Can you see? You can edit that text. No hard and fast rule about, we need not take the default value. In fact, ordinarily we don't go with the default values. Button 1, button 2, button 100 has got no meaning. I would like to say something like verify amounts. Okay, this is just one suggested caption. You can put any other caption. Normally, we put that in an imperative mode. What do I mean by imperative mode? I normally put it as a command. Do this, do that, verify amounts. Okay, generate so and so report, delete so and so sheet. That kind of a command will be there. Do this, do that. Okay, you must ask Excel to do something, and in that language, you should give the caption. So I'm going to ask Excel to verify the amounts. Verify the amount. I highlight. Now I say, please verify the amount. When I press this button, I get it. Is it happening? Hello? Is it happening at your end?
Yes, happening.
Yeah. Those who are okay. How to create the button? I'll show it once more. Okay. Please go to Developer tab, Insert Form Control. Okay, Developer tab, Insert Form Control. You click on this button as a form control. And you draw it rectangle of a suitable size. Okay. And then you assign your macro. Just highlight the macro. This is the macro. It's ready at my end. I highlight it. I press OK. And now it is linked to the second button also. Okay. There is no compulsion that you can link only to one button. The same macro is linked to multiple buttons. It may not serve any purpose exactly, but technically that is possible. Why you will do it that way is another question. But just in case you want to do that, Excel is not stopping you. Okay, Nidhi? Great. Now, as an extension to that, you can even assign the button to this one, to a shape. Sorry, assign the macro to a shape, not button to a shape, sorry, but macro to a shape. What do I mean by shape? If you go to Insert tab, you have shape somewhere in Insert tab. Can you see that? Okay, the group name is illustrations, and as a part of illustrations group, you have the shape. Okay, you can assign it to shapes also. You can take any shape. There are so many shapes. Okay, just for fun, I'm going to pick up a smiley here. Okay, let's start today's new learning on smiling note. So I'm going to use this smiley icon. Okay, in shape, I'm going for smiley. Okay, if you are a little more serious person than what I am, so you can go for some other shape also. Okay. But I'm going for this shape, and I want to assign a macro to this shape. Okay, this is a shape. Shapes are inserted for many reasons. So Excel to begin with won't know that I'm interested in a macro. See, button, when we drew the button, it immediately asks for the macro. Where is your macro? Is your macro ready? That question won't be asked to you by Excel when you insert a shape. But you can always right click, and if you can say that I would like to assign a macro. Okay, after you insert a shape and draw it of a reasonable size, when you click on assign macro, you'll have to do a right click. Unless you do a right click, nobody is going to ask you. Okay? When you insert a button, Excel asks you, not while inserting a shape. So I'm going to say this is the macro I want. I highlight and I press OK. Okay, almost the same thing, but here you don't have to go to developer. You go to insert, go to shapes as a part of illustrations group. Okay, you have shapes somewhere here. Either shapes are directly visible or they are part of illustrations. That's something you will have to check. Again, I hope people are doing this with me. Okay, I would like to tell everyone, especially those who have joined today for the first time, that this is going to be a hands-on workshop practically. Okay, it's a webinar form, but it is a practical workshop, so you must get your hands dirty, so to say. That means you need to try this with me. Okay, I'll be going slowly. So I've opened testing and I'm waiting. I've been devoting a few seconds to that. So that way I'll be going slowly. You are expected to watch and do thereafter, immediately at that point of time. Okay, watch and try it at your end. Okay, if it is not working, give me an immediate feedback. So and so doubt is there, I'm not able to write, not able to do whatever. But you must try it. I mean to say, there are other webinars where you listen carefully. Okay, this webinar is not going to be of that kind. Listening won't help. Okay, hearing, by the way, is definitely not going to help. But even listening attentively will be only half the job done, because unless you practice, you won't truly understand. Okay, so just in case somebody has joined on a mobile phone or something, I will recommend that you switch to a laptop or a desktop and practice it with me. If you have the privilege of accessing two machines, okay, either two laptops, two desktop, or a laptop and a desktop, so you must take advantage of that. Okay, join the meeting using both the devices. On one device, you keep your like on both the devices, you keep your mics off for sure. And on one device you try, other device you watch. Those who don't have that luxury should adjust the windows. Adjust the windows suitably, the MS Teams window and your own Excel, such that you can view both of them side by side. Either of the two you must do. So there is no third option. There is no option of only watching, because that's not going to be helpful. Okay, so I've reached here. What was I doing? Did I finish that? I don't remember. So right click, assign macro. Just show this and press OK and it gets assigned. Okay, does it work? You must test it. Okay, exercise professional skepticism. Okay, it says assign macro. Did it really get assigned? Does it really work? So if I click on this shape, is it doing the same thing that I was doing earlier? So now it's doing, as you might see. Okay, so this shape is also clickable. And then same thing with the other object. So for example, I might insert a picture. Before I do that, is everyone with me? Have you tried shapes? Shapes, has everyone tried? Yeah, is it working with you? Okay, great. Naveen Sharma ji is confirming, Asmi is confirming. Thank you. Thanks to both of you. In that case, I would like to proceed with pictures. I'm not sharing anything new actually. It's going to be the same thing, but let's see. So the idea is now this time I'm in the mood of a picture. So do I have pictures? I'll just go for an online picture maybe. Okay, I'm going for an online picture because I have this Microsoft 365. If you don't have online pictures, just pick up any picture on your device. So if you go to pictures, you can pick from this device also. I'll go for online pictures just for fun and pick up some picture. Okay. What should I go for? I'll go for this airplane itself. Okay, some kind of a nice airplane I'll pick up and insert it. Took some error while importing it. So that's a tough news. Let me try another picture if I can. Try pictures. I'll go for something. Maybe I go for an apple. Oh, I think I'm not able to do that. Let me try a picture from the device. something over here. There are some screenshots, but they look to be a little, try to be a little personal. I go to document. These are the ones. Okay, I'll just download something from the internet. I'll just visit the internet. Oh yeah. I'll just go for sunrise, the image, and just pick up maybe this image at random. Just one of the images, anything will do. Something has been downloaded. Okay, I downloaded an image quickly at random. Now if I go to download, I show this image. This is the image I'm talking about. Here's the image. Okay, I can do a right click to this image. The idea is the same. Just as you have got a shape, here's an image. I can do a right click, assign macro, and you can assign a macro to the image. That's another possibility. You can try it for yourself. If you assign a macro to the image, does it work? If you just clear these two, if I click on this image, does the macro run? That's something you can check for. Alright, so this is image, and there's one more possibility. You can have it linked to your icon. Icons is another thing. Icons is available only in the higher versions. I think in 2019 or higher versions. You have icons. In the lower versions, icons may not be there. Those who are having higher versions can try this with me. I click on an icon. I can put up some kind of an icon. Which icon should I go for? I will just pick up one of them. I get an icon. Again, to an icon, I can do a right click assign macro. Okay, accept button. Excel is not readily convinced that you want to use this for assigning a macro, so that's something you will have to do a right click and assign. Okay, these are four things: the button, the shape, the image, and the icon. These four things are there to which you can assign macro. Why do you look at the other things when you can assign macros to buttons? One principal reason is because images are more appealing, even shapes for that matter. And with shapes and images and even icons, you can bring about cosmetic changes. So for example, I've gone for this shape, okay? I can go to shape format. I can change its fill color. I can give it a texture or something. Okay. I can give it a texture if I really want to. Okay. Then there are the shape effects. I can have some kind of an effect for the shape. Okay, many things are possible. You can do anything with a shape and bring about cosmetic changes. If you click on a picture, shouldn't have clicked, rather I should have done a right click. But let's say if you do a right click that effectively selects, you have a picture format tab. Maybe you can crop it. And when you crop it, you can crop it as per a shape. That's another possibility. You can crop it up something like this. Okay, that could always be a possibility. Okay, same thing with an icon. You can bring about so many cosmetic changes while working with shapes and pictures and this thing, right? So picture, one more thing, you can be a little artistic, bring your artistic effect, give some kind of an artistic effect, some kind of frame to it, something like this. See, these things are so easily possible. Okay, it's providing cosmetic effects to the shapes and images, and that's what makes it more interesting than this boring brown colored button. Okay. So that's about assigning macros to buttons or shapes or images or icons. Does anyone have any question on this? Okay. All right. Naveen is asking, it is just for knowledge that where we can apply macro or companies also use these features. Yeah. So Naveen ji, macros are basically programs. So why will you write a program so that your work becomes easy? So right now, I'm not in the best position to answer your question, Naveen ji. That's because what I'm teaching is ABCD to you. Okay, and on learning about ABCD, you might wonder that what's going to happen. A, B, C, D. I'm learning the alphabet. How is it going to help you? So unless you bring the alphabets together and form words, and unless you bring the words together and form sentences, unless you bring the sentences together and form paragraphs, it won't make sense to you. And I'll just request you to hang on. Later on, we'll look at some of the pre-developed macros as case studies, and they will help us learn things. Okay, I mean they will help us to take things to logical conclusion. Okay, about creating your own macros. We'll reach to that. Okay. Thanks, Yogendra ji, for your uh, kind words. All right. I think with others it's working. There are no questions, it seems. So then I would like to move on with variables. Okay. Uh, so we left this last thing, this whether to write an arbitrary number or whether to look into the thing. Okay. Look into the number of records, look into the data, and you write the precise number. Like the 364 records, so you write 364. None of these approaches are good. Neither writing the number every time nor writing a big arbitrary number. So to have preciseness, what we require is variable. And that's going to be our next topic of discussion. Okay, so let's move to variable, should we? I hope everyone is clear to Leah. So what is a variable? Activating MS Teams. So, okay, screen sharing is still on, but I'm activating MS Teams deliberately so that I can see you and you can see me. Okay. What is a variable? This is not a new word to us. We all have studied algebra to certain extent, at least, right? And algebra, school algebra, we learned something like X, Y, Z, right? Okay, let the sales amount be X. We used to write statements like that. Do you remember? Okay, and then you would form an equation and you would solve for X. The idea was if you are solving your first sum, X may yield the value as 100. In another problem, X may yield the value as 10. So does X have a precise value? The answer is no. X doesn't have any particular precise value. So X is more like a container. Yes or no? Sometimes X contains the value 100, sometimes X contains the value 5. Okay. On the other hand, when you say number 5 is referred as a constant. Okay, even this term may be known to you. Okay, constant and variable are not new words to you. Okay, if you have spent some time with algebra. In macros, we are going to use the same term and with the same meaning actually, the same implied meaning. But whereas constant is something which you cannot change, and variable is, is a container which effectively contains a constant. It is containing the constant right now. That doesn't mean it will continue to hold that constant all the while. Meenakshi screen is not visible because I have deliberately kept MS Teams on. Okay, so I'm just making a general discussion without really using macros. I'll turn to the screen once. Okay, so Swapnali ji, I'll turn to that. Okay, the concept of variable, the basic idea is here. It's just a container. Okay, and I'm going to use that container to capture the value. Okay, somewhere that will come. Before we get into that part, let us understand some basics of variable. So now I'm actually switching the window. I request everyone to come to this second lesson. Can you see variables? Okay, we have variables here. Okay. I request everybody to open this file on variables. This file has some pre-created macros. Now I've switched my device. Okay, compared to Wednesday session, today I'm using a different device. And because of that, one thing has happened. I also downloaded the files from internet. So the first thing is I'm getting this message. And maybe you also are getting this message, protected view. Be careful, files from internet can contain viruses. So this is a disclaimer put by Microsoft, but you can trust my files. Okay. So it's safer to stay in protected view, generally speaking. But you can trust my files and you can click on this button, enable editing. If you do so, then Excel might flash another message. Okay, please read the messages. I mentioned this last time also. At the cost of repetition, I would like to reiterate that we must read the messages. We have the habit of, hitting the enter sign, enter key hard, and thereby dismissing the message. Don't dismiss the messages. Okay, respect the messages, read them, and take appropriate action. So now what it says is a fairly longish message, but then we have read CA textbooks, we have read them. Compared to that, this is nothing. So Microsoft Office has identified a potential security concern. What's the potential security concern? Microsoft has blocked macros from running because the source of this file is untrusted. Why it says so? Because this file contains some macros. So Excel, Microsoft has used strong language because people have suffered in the past. So it kinds of, if you are a lay person not having this background, then this puts you on defense. And then you kind of, you feel that I should not be actually enabling them. I should not be playing fast and loose with this. Where is the file path? File path is given. Microsoft has blocked macros from running because the source is untrusted. Disable macros. Okay. So I'll just close this. Okay. I don't really find that untrusted, whether Microsoft feels that way, that is problem. So what I can do is I can come back to my folder. What to do? The macros won't trigger because the macros are simply blocked. So you come to your file, do a right click. Okay, this happens with every file downloaded from internet. By default, its macros are blocked. If you want to unblock them, you come to the properties. I think we discussed this last time. You come to the properties for that file, and you might notice that at its bottom we have a checkbox called unblock. Can everyone see that? Okay, come to the file, come to the Explorer, Windows Explorer, the folder. Do a right click on the file, click on properties, the last one, and within properties, within the file properties, come to the last checkbox at the bottom end. Can you see that? So we have the option of unblocking it if you want to. So you can click unblock, press the apply button, then press OK. If you do so, if you press apply, unblock it and press OK, then these variables can be opened. When I say open means they can be opened and then you can run the macro if you want. For some reason, acha, your enable macros was there. Okay, last time we discussed the security settings also, and I told you it should be disable VBA macros with notification. So on this laptop, for some reason, somebody has set it because this is not the macro laptop that I use every day. Somebody has changed it. So I'll just save and I'll reopen this file. Suppose this file also. If I open it, okay, I might get a notification once more. It says, but here last time I had only disable macros. Now I do have the option of enabling the macros. Okay, it says do not enable this content unless you trust the source of this file. But I trust it, so I'll click on enable. Okay, I want all of you to trust me. Okay, just trust me and press the enable button. something happens, Vinayak sir is there. Okay, so that way you can lay trust, enable the macros, and let us now consume the macro. Okay, has everyone enabled it? If you have enabled it, come to developer tab. In developer tab, you have Visual Basic. You click on Visual Basic or just press the keyboard shortcut Alt F11. As you do so, the window is opened up. Is it? Okay, here's the window. This macro is already written. Okay, this is a pre-written macro. We did not record it. It was written. Okay, I'm using the word written very consciously here. Is everyone with me? Okay. Now, we'll start with this variable. Just excuse me for a half a minute. I'll just get some water. Throat has run dry. Okay, just excuse me for a moment. I shall be back. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so here we have this window. Now, before we start using this window, I want you to resize this window. Okay, so we have your own Excel is there. Okay, there are three windows at your end actually. You have the MS Teams window, then you have your normal Excel window, and then you also have this macros window. Okay, those are using a single machine. All right, so just try to superimpose like 50% screen the Excel and macros window, but resize them suitably. Yes, Amma. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm saying is you have the Excel file on variable and you also have the macro window. Just click on this restore button. Okay. And then you'll be able to resize this window on macros. Just resize it suitably. What I normally do is I resize it in such a way so that I keep it in the uh, bottom right corner. You can look at my screen, how it is appearing on your MS Teams window, how the Excel and macros is there. If you want, you can close this Project Explorer also, where you can see the full line. Project Explorer properties window. Okay, the panes that you have on the left side, if you want, you can close them. Then you will be able to see the full line. Okay. So let the VBA window, let the macros window occupy bottom right corner of your Excel, and the remaining you can say approximately 75% of Excel should be visible. And in all, this should occupy half of your screen. Half of your screen should be MS Teams, and in another half, this is how you should arrange Excel file and macros window. Okay, all three you must see parallel. So you will check how things are progressing at my end, and then you will accordingly take it ahead at your end, where At your end, you have Excel and macros both. Okay, have you rearranged your windows accordingly? Please rearrange your windows. I'll give you a few seconds for that. Okay, are you people through? Done? Okay. So now, yesterday and today at the beginning, not yesterday, but on the previous Wednesday and today, when we clicked that button or when we selected the macro and pressed the run button, the macro it got executed in its entirety. Now, whether that is the most correct thing to do is a big question. Actually, the answer is no. You should not run the macros like this, especially if you are a developer. If you are a user, you will click the button. But if you are a developer, clicking the button and achieving one step execution is the last thing. Okay, before that, you want a step by step execution. So, can we go for a step by step, line by line execution? So, for that purpose, we will run this in a break mode. So, this mode is called break mode. Okay, we are not yet started with the break mode, but we are starting with that now. Okay, if you have arranged the windows suitably, just keep your cursor at the beginning. Okay, and keep on macros. Okay, on the macro, you keep the cursor at the beginning, just before sub variables, and then you press F8 key. Okay, press F8 key, and are you getting this yellow colored, the yellow colored arrow and yellow highlighting? Okay, can you see this yellow strip? You need to press the F8 key once. I'll repeat. Okay, keep
Sir,
your cursor at the beginning and then press F8 key. Yes, somebody was asking something.
sir, can you quickly repeat last 1 minute session since I lag behind
See, have you
making
arranged these
changes?
windows? Have you arranged
No,
these
sir.
windows?
No,
Just
no, no,
arrange
no.
your Excel. Just arrange your Excel and VBA. Okay, so open this file on variables. Have you opened the file on variables?
Yeah, I
0
have
to
opened the
variables.
file on.
Okay.
Yeah, but the changes which you
And
have told, I could not
the changes,
make that.
see, only one change. There is no
Huh.
change as such, but just that you are supposed to open this Visual Basic window. Okay, you come to
Okay,
Developer tab, then click on
okay,
Visual Basic. The Visual Basic window will open. But when it opens in a maximized view. So
Hmm.
from the maximized view, you resize the window so that it approximately fits here in the bottom right corner. Okay, resize this window. Make it a little shorter, make it a little less wide, and accordingly place it on the bottom right corner. Okay, this is the most helpful arrangement. Okay, in the background you have your Excel, and in the bottom corner you keep macros, and this entirely should occupy 50%. Okay, your Excel and your VBA together should occupy 50%. Okay, because 50% screen is used for MS Teams. Yes or no? So that way you have to arrange. Okay. And once you do that, keep your cursor just before sub and press F8. Can everyone see this yellow strip? Hello. Put yes or no. Now Anuradha ji has a question which I believe will be a very representative question. Many of you might have this question. Okay, what Anuradha ji is saying is F8 button is turning on airplane mode. It could be either airplane mode or it could be something else. Okay, so Anuradha ji, first of all, if airplane mode is on, again press F8 and turn it off. unless you are attending this session sitting in a flight. Okay. Uh, and then what you should do. So basically, if I have to generalize, your function keys are not getting directly triggered. Okay, so you can press F and F8. So Anuradha ji, what you can do is you have a key called FN on your laptop somewhere. Okay, it's beside the control key on the left. So you'll have to press FN, then F8. While keeping FN pressed, you press F8. But that's frankly a little cumbersome because any function key needs to be triggered. For example, you want to press Alt F8, but hold it, then you'll have to press Alt FN F8. That's a little cumbersome. So alternately, you have an FN lock key. Okay, FN lock you might see typically on escape. On your escape key, do you see a lock kind of an icon? If you can, you need to press FN plus the key bearing FN lock. Okay, this is what you need to press. You need to press FN followed by the key bearing FN lock. Generally, it is the escape key. On some laptops, it could be a different key. So I'm not really giving you escape as the full and final key. Okay. If you press FN and FN lock once, okay, then thereafter FN will trigger, F2 will trigger uh, function key 2, F3 will trigger function key 3, and so on. Okay, your airplane mode and your volume and brightness, those things won't get changed when you press function key. Okay, see whether that works. Just in case that's very much confusing, at the very least, you can always press FNF2, FNF3, FNF5, FNF8, and so on. Okay, so either directly F8 or FNF8, whichever way, see whether it works for you. Okay, glad to know, Anuradha ji, that it works in your case. And I hope now all of us are at par wherein we have this yellow colored strip. Whatever is highlighted in yellow is about to be executed. Okay, it has not yet got executed. It is about to be executed. So let us execute it now. Press F8 once more. First the F8 prompt is yellow strip, and then again an F8. And when I press F8 for the second time, it skips two lines actually. Okay, it was highlighting this line. Now what it did was it stopped highlighting this line. It went ahead. It skipped this line. It skipped this line. Now it is highlighting this. So this x equal to 9 is about to be executed. Okay, before we execute this, let us understand why it skipped two lines. Why did it skip this line? Can someone answer? This is not a difficult thing. Why this line was skipped? Integer type used to store whole numbers. It is not difficult to guess. Why the second line was skipped? This is the second line, but it was not executed.
It's green in color and
Very
it
good.
can't be
It is
executed.
green in color. Correct, correct. Very good. So it is green in color. Some more people have indicated. Ninaji has written. Asmi, Jayesh, Naveen Sharma. All of you are correct. And some people might have stayed silent, but all you have figured out. It is not an executable command, so it has not been triggered. I mean, it hasn't been executed, so it's skipped. The next line you cannot say so. Next line is executable. Yet it did not stop at that. So I'll put it this way: it has been triggered, okay, but there was no reason for you to stop. Okay, at x equal to 9, it stops. Okay, you would like to see what will be the behavior on triggering this. There is no reason for you to stop to check its behavior. Now, this is a command and this command will never get recorded. Recorder can never produce this command. This is dim command. Okay, what is dim command? In dim command, using dim command, dim actually stands for dimension. Okay, you are defining the dimension of x, and what is the dimension of x? It is an integer. Okay, this command marks x as an integer. Okay, I am saying that x is a variable. I'm going to involve x as a variable. And what kind of a variable is this? It is an integer. How does this matter to me? So these are programming standards. When you mark a particular variable as a particular type, then appropriate size is associated with that. I'll give you a very simple example. Okay, there are various types of liquid or various types of things in your kitchen, and you require them in varying quantities. Yes or no? So, for example, you require honey. Okay, you require oil. Um, Maybe you require ghee, and there might be so many other things you require. Okay, are the containers or are they of the same size? If I go beyond liquid, then you also have kesar in your kitchen, maybe somewhere in your home. Okay, the container for kesar and the container for rice, will they be of the same size? No sense in that, right? For kesar, you can have a small dibbi, whereas for rice, you require a dabba, big one. Why so? Because of the volume of activity that is expected. You will put a little kesar, and that too not necessarily every day, but every day, twice a day, you might consume rice. Correct? So then the quantity required is much more. So the dabba required is also much bigger. Yes or no? So similarly, what are you storing? Variable is a container, right? What kind of a thing are you going to store here? Okay. Honey will require a smaller container, but something like oil, you might go for a much larger container. So now if I'm expecting an integer, for integer I can go for a smaller container. And there are larger containers for other types of values. I mean, let me put it this way, for if I'm expecting an integer, let me declare it as an integer. I'm saying that this variable is of integer type, so an appropriate size is given. Okay, it may be intuitive to you to follow that compared to integer type variable, those variables which capture real numbers will be much bigger. Yes or no? Because the moment I say that this is a real number, this is a variable for real number, that means it should also allow decimal numbers, it should also allow irrational numbers. That's something that we learned in school mathematics. And I require much bigger container. But when I say integer, that means 1, 2, 3, 4. Between 1 and 2, there are so many numbers. I'm ignoring all of them. Okay. I'm considering 1, I'm considering 2, I'm considering 3, I may consider even -3, -4, -5, and 0. But that's a much smaller set of numbers in comparison with decimal also. So this is a much smaller, you can say, so relatively smaller container is sufficient. So if I go to this types in my Excel, I've got a sheet called types. You can see how much space is required for integer. The moment you declare that the variable is integer type, it only requires 2 bytes. Okay, 2 bytes is 16 bits. Bit is a binary digit. Okay, bit is a short form for binary digits. It requires 2 bytes, that is 16 bits. But the moment you go for single or double, this includes decimal numbers, the ranges are given here, you will require probably 4 bytes or 8 bytes. If you go for a text, so string, variable length, then length plus 10 bytes by default. If it is a fixed length, then length of string. That means it's a 5 character, they say it is going to require 5 bytes. If it is 10 character, then 10 bytes. If it is variable, whatever is this length plus 10 bytes, 10 bytes extra. Okay. So much more space is required if you want to store some other thing. If you want to store numbers where the numbers are much lesser in size, then you can go for certain types. For example, you define a variable to be a byte. As the name suggests, byte is going to hello. Am I audible? I think there was a momentary fluctuation. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, yes, you're audible, sir.
Yeah, momentarily I went out of the meeting and I joined. There was a little fluctuation. So I don't know whether screen sharing is still on. I'll just share it once more. I think it was on, but I'll share it once. Okay, so I was talking about bytes. I don't know what did you hear the last. So I was talking about the sizes and I was just commenting about byte. That if you want, you can define it to be a byte, variable to be byte. Huh. Just a second. Just excuse me 1 minute. Uh, I'll just be right back. Just 1 second. Hello. Yeah. So let's continue. I was talking about byte, and what byte does is it stores only values between 0 to 255. Okay, from 0 till 255, there are how many numbers? 256. Okay. So in all 256 numbers are there. Only 256 numbers are supported. So suppose I'm talking about something like number of children in a family. Number of children in a family or to a couple will be how many? Okay, starting from 0. So either there are couples who are not having any children at all, no issues, or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Even if we consider Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, at the most 100 children. Okay, 100 children or 101 children. My point is, can you not define the number of children as a variable of byte category? Then what you do is you assign a small enough container for that. It occupies the size of 1 byte. And if it occupies 1 byte, that is more efficient in comparison with 4 bytes or 8 bytes or 16 bytes or much bigger. Okay? Are you getting the point? Why are we declaring a variable? We declare variable for two reasons. I'll come to the second reason at a later point. But one important reason why it is declared is because it then assigns a size to it. When I say it is integer, it's going to be a 2 byte variable. It's going to consume 2 bytes of memory while processing it. Okay, this is the idea. This is the logic. Is everyone following this? Okay, are you getting the point? Now, I'll come to reality. Reality is what? This was okay once upon a time. Okay, this was okay once upon a time. This was much more sensible discussion once upon a time when we had, floppy drives. Some of you might have memories of that. We had floppy drives, floppy disks, and those floppy disks were of 1.44 MB. Okay, 1.44 MB for one floppy disk, and the disk was a fairly large size. It wasn't some disk, as in it's not like a memory card size or something. It's fairly large, of the size of your palm, maybe. Okay, and that would contain only 1.44 MB of data. 1.44 MB will be 1.44 into 1096 KB at that many KB. So that's that kind of a value. Okay, so that was the time when this made sense. But today we have memories. If you talk about RAM, today we have RAMs which go in GBs, right? Gigabytes. Okay, bytes, then megabyte. Megabyte is 1024 bytes. Okay, kilo is 100. Okay. So mega will be 1024. 1024 megabyte will be one gigabyte. Okay. So 1024 into 1024, that kind of factor. So bytes don't really matter today. Okay. So sorry, my bad. My bad. So you have one byte and 1 KB equal to 1024 bytes in the first place. Okay, 1 KB is 1024 B, and then 1 MB equal to 1024 KB. Okay. 1 GB with 1024 MB. And now TB is also not uncommon. You get external hard disks which are like of 1 TB or something. 1 TB will be 1024 GB. Then we have PB also, picobytes and all. I won't get into that. Now you're at this level. We are talking 1 byte, 2 bytes, 4 bytes, trying to be efficient, wherein your memory has already become equivalent to 16 GB. 16 GB RAM is not uncommon, or at least 8 GB RAM is very common today. So when you have machines with 8 GB RAM, even if it is 1 GB RAM, you are 3 levels ahead. You have already gone 3 levels ahead. I understand it's supporting many applications concurrently, but out of this 1 GB, even if 1,000 parts comes, then you are still having 1 MB to process it, and then 1 MB, and then you are talking about byte, which is like 2 levels down. So does it really matter? So today, according to me, if you ask me, the space doesn't matter. That has become of secondary importance or a tertiary level of importance. I won't assign much importance to space, but there is another reason, a more serious reason why you should still declare your variable. I'll come to that part later. Okay. But right now, what I'll do is I'll come back to sheet one. And now I want all of us to proceed further. Okay. Have you understood, Celia? Is everyone understanding what is the concept of a byte? And we just saw at a glance that different variables of different size, of different types consume different size. Okay. They are effectively like containers, where a container can be a katori also, a container could be a bottle also, or a container can be a big bucket also. Okay. They can be of various sizes. Now let's see how this execution go. I told you 1 minute back, a few minutes back, that anything that is in yellow is about to be executed. This x equal to 9 is not yet executed. If you bring your mouse pointer here, you can see x equal to 0 by default. Okay. I declared x as an integer, so now Excel knows x can only assume integer values. To begin with, x is 0. How do I know that? I bring my mouse pointer close to x, and then it flashes x equal to 0. Is it happening? Check at your end. When you bring it to x, does it flash x equal to 0? Okay, just satisfy yourself. Once it flashes x equal to 0, press F8 once more, And now if you press F8, it becomes, what does it become? Now it becomes x equal to 9. Can you see that? Hello? Do you get x equal to 9? You can check that. Are you getting x equal to 9? Okay, that is only when it finishes this line and goes to the next one. Okay, check it by hovering your mouse pointer. Is everybody with me? Okay, may I proceed? Okay, the next line, which is in the yellow highlighting, which means it is about to be executed now, reads as range A1 dot value equal to X. If you remember, in the last session, I had mentioned about reading the commands in English. Okay, while they are written in VBA, you can kind of translate that into English and how instead of this dot, use Hindi preposition. Okay, so another way of reading this line could be range A1 की value क्या होनी चाहिए x equal to x. Range A1 की value होनी चाहिए x. That's how I can read this. Okay, almost the same thing, but now instead of dot, I use the word key in Hindi. Range A1 की value equal to x. So A1 कहाँ है? Where is A1? A1 is nothing else but if I go by R1C1 notation, it is row 1, column 1. When I press F8, just press F8 and observe what happens. Can you see that the cell 1, 1 or you can say A1 cell has or starts bearing the value 9. Why 9? Because fundamentally we equated that with x, but x in the previous line x was assigned the value 9. First you assign the value 9 to x. 9 is a constant, but x is a variable. Okay. When I write this in equation form, okay, you should not confuse that with mathematical equations. We all have studied equations in school. And in school equations, algebra equations, you can write x equal to 9 or 9 equal to 6, x. Okay. X equal to 9 or 9 equals to x. Either way you write, they are equivalent. Do you agree with me? In algebra, you write x equal to 9, 9 equal to x. Both are equivalent, but not in programming. In programming, if I write x equal to 9, so here x is the receiver and 9 is being received. Let me write it. X is receiver, 9 is being received. Okay, this is what it means. So in programming languages, be it any programming language, if you try to write commands, something like this x equal to 9, I think this kind of a command is present in every programming language. The order has an importance. What is in LHS, what is in RHS? Okay, so LHS is receiver and it receives the RHS. Look at it that way. LHS is receiver and it receives the RHS. That's what it is. Okay, so x equal to 9, previous value of x, default value at the time of declaration of the variable was 0. Then I assigned 9 to x and then I simply poured it in range A1. When I poured it in range A1, what did I get? In A1, 9. Okay, I hope this section is very clear to everybody. If any questions, you can ask me. Is this section clear to everybody? This is our introduction to variables. Okay, on Wednesday of previous week, we began with a scenario. And we ended that with a problem statement. The problem statement was how to make that number of records as flexible. Now we are trying to address that problem statement, and as a part of that solution, we are trying to understand the concept of variable. Okay, this alone may not be complete. Okay, but this is going to be an important point. So I'm kind of leaving that problem aside for a moment and first understanding some basics. Once I understand the basics, I can again take up the problem and solve it. Okay, so let's explore this a little further. The next thing is string type. Again, a green line which was skipped. You know now why it was skipped. It was skipped because this green line is non-executable. String type to use. So another variable type we are going to learn. We saw integer type. Another variable type is string. Very common variable type. So now the variable being used is company. One interesting point about this variable is this variable is a word. In school algebra, we used to use X, Y, Z. Those were our variables. But good thing about programming languages is your variables can be either alphabets or they can be words. And ordinarily, we don't really use alphabets. Okay, this was only for demonstration. But by and large, generally, we don't use variables like X, Y, Z. What we do is we might use a variable like company. So I'm talking about some kind of a company. Okay, so the variable itself is company. What am I talking about? Company. So what's the variable name? Variable name is company. I'm talking about company. And I declare that as a variant. Variant as a type. Okay. What is variant as a type? If I just see it quickly, variant, if it is numeric, is going to take 16 bytes. This is the minimum size. A variant, when you use a number, it is assigned 16 bytes. That is the maximum size. Okay. Or variant as a text is assigned the length plus 22 bytes. So that's much more space than the other types of variables. Having said that, compared to the RAM size in GBs, it is negligible. I can very much declare this as a variant, and there may not be any perceptible difference in its processing. So company equal to IHS global, I'm just assigning this value. How to assign this value? Before I assign this value, I would like to hover my mouse pointer, and can you see company as a variable is empty. So this is an empty variable. You have come with a bucket. Okay, definitely not a spoon or not a katori or not a bottle, but you have got the entire bucket. Nonetheless, the bucket is empty. It's an empty bucket. Let's fill it with something. I press F8. Now check company once more. Now can you see company is IHS Global. Okay, it is being shown as IHS Global. And then I say range A2 dot value equal to company. Now, who is the recipient? LHS is the recipient. LHS is about to receive what? RHS. What is RHS? Company. But does that mean the word company will go? No, company is used as a variable. Then in that case, what does it contain? It contains IHS Global, and IHS Global has been written in a pair of double inverted commas. This is noteworthy. Okay, just make a mental note that the word company is without double quotes, but the phrase IHS Global is with quotes. It could be phrase or it could be one word also, but it is with quotes. With double quotes, it becomes constant. Without double quotes, a text becomes variable. So this variable company, whatever value it contains, will be lent or which will be given to this. When I press F8, I get this IHS Global in A2. When I say A2, I mean nothing else but the second row and first row. Okay, any questions still here? Anyone has any questions? Abhishek ji, do you want to share your screen or something? Abhishek Shinde ji? Basically, you have requested for the control. Do you want the control of the screen? I can give that if you want to, if you have some doubt and you want to share your screen. or is it by
No, sir.
mistake?
No, sir. It's by mistake. Sorry, sir.
Okay, then I'm just no problem. I'm just denying the. All right. Smriti has a question: can variable names be alphanumeric? Yes. Good question. Yes, variable names can be alphanumeric also. So you can have it something like ABC123 or company 1, company 2, company 3. These can be variable names. Okay. You can even use some special characters. For example, your variable can be defined as company underscore India. Okay, this can be a variable. Company underscore USA. This can be another variable. You can have two variables. Just to have clarity, you may put an underscore in between. So underscore is what? Underscore is a special character. Or you can even write ABC dollar. So dollar is allowed. This is alphabetic as well as with a special character. So underscore is allowed, dollar is allowed. I think one or two more special characters are allowed. Um, the way I define the variables as per my own style, apart from underscore, I don't use any other special character. There is no great reason for that. There is no great achievement in that. There is no great control by avoiding uh, special character. Just that ordinarily alphabetic are good enough. I use underscore only because if I want to use something like company India and company USA, that way two variables, then I would like to use an underscore and use two words. So this is effectively a variable involving two words. How do I separate the two words? So that's where underscore helps. Beyond that, it doesn't serve any purpose. Okay. I mean, I haven't really felt any necessity. You can't use multiplication sign. Multiplication sign is a special character that won't be supported. Maybe some more will be supported. Space is also not allowed. Space will finish the variable. Okay, your variable starts getting defined and it goes on till it encounters the space. So not the way you have written. You will have to put an underscore if you want to join them. Space means it is the end of the variable. So LILE will become one variable. Company word will be another variable. India word will be third variable. You can use uppercase, lowercase. Anything is okay. So case wise, not a problem. Right? We'll see that. Let's see. Going forward, double type used to store decimal numbers with great precision. So double has more space, is a bigger container, maybe equivalent to a bottle in comparison with integer type, which is equivalent to one cup maybe. Okay, cup and bottle, that kind of a difference we have. Same q as double, small q equal to 9.28756. When I press F8, so before I press F8, I check the value is 0. Can I go a little faster? When I press F8, q is assigned that value, and the next command is range a3 dot value. Although my Excel right now is in R1C1 mode, and my command is written in A1 notation, that is not a problem. So when I press F8, it goes to the right location. Okay. The Boolean type. What is Boolean type? So Boolean is a type where only true or false, only two values are allowed. It's like on and off. It's either on or off. There is no third state. So binary kind of a result. Correct, incorrect, true, false, open, close. That way. So last record, last underscore record. Can you see I've used underscore here. Last underscore record. What is this? This is a variable. I declare it to be type of Boolean, only true or false. To begin with, it is false. Unless you turn it on, any switch by default is off, isn't it? Off means false.
Can I
So
make a
this
small
Boolean type
clarification?
default is false. Yeah, you want to
Can
say
I ask
something?
small? Can I make a small clarification for that?
Yeah, yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
Why
Hello.
why not zero or one is used for Boolean instead of true and false, as you say? Of course, the meaning is same.
Maybe
Logic.
same. I think it is by default. I think maybe you can use 0 and 1 also. I'm not right that. But like by and large, generally people are more accustomed to true and false as the word. They understand true as true and false and as false. But 0 means false and 1 means true may or may not be universally known. So more direct approach is used. Having said that, maybe you can use. So I'll do one thing just for fun. Copy this down and assign 0, and let us see if it creates any trouble and whether it shows that value. Maybe should I'll cut it from here and I'll paste it here. Then I'll copy this line, paste this line. I'll just, instead of A column, I'll make it B column. Let us see whether this happens. Okay, so both the things will work out. Okay, I've just now made an addition to the code. There is no reason for you to make this addition. Okay, this was the code which was already there. I added these two lines. Basically, just a copy paste. And I changed true to 0. And I changed A4 to B4. So we'll have a trail of everything. Let's see. So last underscore record, now I assign that as true. True means 1 basically. It is true. And in A4 I pour it. So A4 now assumes the value true. Now I say last underscore record equal to 0. So 0 is false. Okay, while I executed this command, then I went and I hovered my mouse pointer, it shows false. And if I go to B4 and drop false, what do I get? Okay, so while I wrote 0, 0 was converted into false. So there is equivalence between 0 and false. There is equivalence between true and 1. Okay, and that's well supported by Excel. So choice is yours. You can either use 0 or 1, or you can use true or false. Okay, so that's as far as Boolean values are concerned. Okay, I hope this is clear to everybody. Okay, if this part is clear, we can go to the next thing, and the next thing is the date type. Let us see date as a type. We all know in Excel, if you want to hard code any value, if you want to write a textual value, if you want to hard code any value, then you will use a pair of double inverted comma. Correct? Especially in a formula. Within your formula, if you want to hard code any text value, then it's double quotes. In VBA, if you want to hard code any date value or a time value, it is a pair of hashes. So in a pair of hashes, you write this, and this is in MMDD format. Okay, this pair of hashes is in MMDD format. Now something interesting I'm doing on the way. Okay, so I use DOB equal to these hashes and press F8. When I press F8, I get the value of DOB. What is the value of DOB? It is this. Okay, but I'm a little confused. Is it 5th November or is it 11th May? I think this is, okay, let us see in which format it is. On second.cyc, this is BDMF. Okay, when I use hashes. But let me see. So, since I'm a little unsure whether this is 5th November or 11th May, I use another command called application.worksheetfunction.text. Now, this is very interesting possibility. Effectively, I'm using Excel worksheet functions in VBA. I can apply the functions on VBA. And this is a tremendous possibility because, see, it's like applying functions on variables. When you apply functions on variables, you don't have to write a code for it. Why? Because the function is already created by Microsoft. So Microsoft programmers have already racked their brains on that and they have developed something. Now you just enjoy that fruit by writing application.worksheet function, and then the worksheet functions, most of them, not all of them, but maybe 85 to 90% of the worksheet functions are available for use. You can use them and then your job is done. So what I'm doing is I'm just redefining the format. Okay, I'm associating, I'm giving DOB to back to DOB. Okay, so on my RSS also I have DOB. What I'm receiving is also DOB, and it is being received by DOB itself. But when I say it's receiving DOB, it's not receiving DOB as it is. First, there is a type conversion, so the type is changing. Okay, while the date was hard coded as D slash MM slash blah, 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 or something. When I press F8 here, you might see a difference. Uh, okay, I think my difference may not be completely visible here. Okay, when I press F8, what do I get? Okay, it's 11th May. It is in MMDD format, looks like. Okay. So, not able to recall, but this is in MMDD format. For some reason, actually, this did not work. I was expecting May, the word May. Not showing actually. So I use quote and M.
Can I
Sorry, what
can I
format?
can I
Sorry,
can I interrupt, please?
Yeah, yeah.
In case of third row, sorry, in the second row, DOB is equal to, for example, 5 in public 11. And in the next row, where the DOB is equal to application dot work, and where there at the end DOB has been defined. If we change this, instead of MMM, and if we say DD MMM and YY, then the how it will appear as such is the same way, no? Because how we have defined in the third row as such.
Let us see. So if I just write this as GD, MM, suppose. Okay, and then if I just rerun this part. By the way, if you want to push this back, okay, you are in the testing mode right now. Okay, you want to try out. So what you can do is you can take this yellow arrow, you can click, you can always drag it back. Okay, similarly, you can drag it forward also. Okay, the execution can always be dragged back. You can drag it forward if you are already through with certain portions. Okay, the choice is up to you. So I redefine it from scratch, and then I define it this way. Now it becomes 11. Okay, it is a transformation that is happening in terms of presentation. So again, it is 11th May. It was taken as an MMDD, but then now I said DD-MM, so it made it 11th May. And then when I drop it here, it becomes 7th May. Now this is 5th November. Oh. So here some kind of a transformation is happening actually. Okay, so here to begin with it was 5th, 11th May, and then it got transformed. The value got transformed, not just represented, not just changing the look, but it got transformed thanks to this function. To be honest with you, that's not how the function behaves in Excel. We have this 5th November. If I insert text function here, and if I just show this as the value and the format as a editor. Okay, format I decide as GD, MM, Y. Okay, the look will be this. Okay, but then if I take a difference, Okay, they look similar, but there is a difference between them. Okay, they are looking the same, but there is a difference because the text function is actually transforming it. The same value being transformed by text function. So that's exactly what is happening here. Okay, was uh, my misunderstanding. I thought text function is only going to change the look, but it is doing a transformation. Okay, so as you can see more evidently here, there is a transformation happening, especially if we make it, if we feed it as an MMDD and then this we define it as DDM. Okay, is this part clear to everyone? So we start with MMDD. So this is taken as 11th May. Plans it becomes 5th November. Or you can do it sort of mentally by doing it as a part of VBA macro. Ideally, you should finish all your computations and then drop that into Excel cells. And if you do so, then it works better. Okay, clear everybody? Okay, so let's do that. Let's do the next one. And the next one is XYZ. XYZ, dim XYZ as variant. Okay, XYZ equal to absolutely anything. What am I saying? Now this is a variant, so you can have anything. So I press F8. XYZ to begin with is empty because it's a variant. Now I press F8 and it gets this value absolutely anything. And then if I press F8 once more, then in A6 you get absolutely anything phrase. Okay, absolutely anything as a phrase you are getting here. Now I don't redefine the type, but now what I assign to XYZ is a number. I'm about to execute that. And I press F8, XYZ equal to 152, okay. And then in A7 what you drop is 150. Then XYZ a negative number. What is this? This is an integer, isn't it? This is an integer, and now this is a negative decimal number. I assign that and decide to drop it in A8. That is also caught and dropped. XYZ a particular timing. I press F8 and I drop it. Timing can also be caught. XYZ equal to false. This is a Boolean value. I catch it and I drop it. I get that also. Have you understood? Okay, this is what we mean by variant. When you declare something as a variant, variant can catch anything. Okay, so it can catch a text, it can catch an integer, it can catch a negative decimal number, it can catch a timing, it can catch a Boolean value. And the last command was end sum. Okay, many times, especially the beginners, what they do is they forget that even the last command needs to be executed. So if you have reached till here, don't forget to go down. Keep going down. Okay, suppose this is your last line, it is highlighted. If you are happy, you understood your macro or you have written a macro and it's working very well. But in your happiness, don't forget to finish this last line. End sub is the end macro command. Unless you ask the macro to end it, it won't end. Till then it is on. Till then, can you see in this bracket, if you look at this title over here, okay, where my cell pointer is there, have a look. Can you see break word here? It is still in the break mode. Okay, you need to finish it. So if I press F8, then the word break goes. Then this yellow strip goes. Then your macro is over because you have ended your macro. So have you understood the concept of a variable? Okay, is everyone clear on the concept of variable? What is a variable? I think I've spent a good amount of time on variables. I just wanted to discuss the different types of variables, and I hope at the end of it everybody is clear on that because this is a very fundamental concept. Unless you understand this concept, you won't understand the other thing. Does anyone have any questions on this part? Okay, variable part is clear with everyone, I hope. Okay.
So I have a question.
Okay, yes.
When you asked to change the DDMM format, when I changed it from MM to DD and again I ran the function, still it is showing it in the same format, 11501.
Yeah, see, actually now we have different, we might have different local settings. So if you glance at the
Okay.
bottom right corner of my machine, I got today's data as 2/6. So mine is fundamentally MMDD. If yours is fundamentally DDMM,
DDMM, yeah.
okay. I think momentarily again went out for some reason. Okay,
So
but
since
I
mine is
think
fundamentally DDMM, whatever I do, it is going to show me
so
in that format.
it will behave differently. Yes, yes.
Okay.
It will
Okay.
behave differently. It depends on your local settings. Okay, Dinesh Kumar ji has a question. Why should we write rang? Uh, Rang, where was rang? Are you talking about range? Maybe. I guess your question is related to the word range. Okay. So why to write range? Range can be one cell or multiple cells. It need not be range necessarily, but the way this command works, it works with a range. So whether you like it or you don't like it. So it is one cell. I agree. It is only one cell, but the command is range. We have another command called cells. So another way of writing this range A10. This is the A1 notation. If you ask me R1 C1 notation, then I can use cells command, wherein I can say first, sorry, 10th row and first column dot value equal to x, y, z. It's the same thing, okay? What I wrote here is effectively the same thing, but I'm using a slightly different notation. I'm saying cells into bracket 10 comma 1. Now 10 comma 1, this is an R1 C1 notation. Here the row is written first and column is written later. Okay, dot value equal to x, y, z. That's how it goes. Okay, here again we use the word cells, okay, which is plural actually. But we end up writing only one cell. We never write two cells. So if you ask me why this is there, my response will be I don't know. That's how Microsoft has given it. So that's the syntax defined by Microsoft. If you don't like it, then you give that feedback to Microsoft. I can only pass on the message. I can only share with you what can work. That's how the syntax is. Okay. Ashwiji, could you demonstrate the currency data type? So it's going to be the same. See, there are many integers. You can try. You can try defining it as a currency and just see how it responds. In fact, I will encourage you to explore it. There are so many integer variable types. You can try the different ones. You can try long. You can try single, and many other things. Currency, string, uh, object, and if you have any object like a chart or shape or icon or picture, these are all objects. You can assign objects to object as a data type. You can see whether you can do a copy paste or something. You can explore that. Okay. Beyond the point, I think we have discussed enough types. So what I suggest to you, Asmij, is you just try it on similar lines and try to copy paste the para, just change it to currency and see what kind of value you get. And if you get something different or something confusing, Just note it and you can ask it first thing in the next session. Alright? Okay. We have a few minutes with us. Uh, through as far as variables is concerned, I would like to just discuss this briefly. Maybe I won't finish this necessarily, but let me just see if I open loop. Can I get started with loop? Again, the same things are there. Yeah, again, you need to unblock. Okay. Something you have understood now. And enable the macro. I need to go to View tab, View Project Explorer. I have closed my Project Explorer. So I went to View tab, View Project Explorer. Then if I open this loop procedure, then I get this. I think I'll just run the first loop. We won't have time to finish this entirely. But I'll just run this very first one. Then probably we'll stop for the day. Okay. We'll talk about the other things later. Let's just kind of get introduced to the concept of a loop. So what is loop? Loop means working again and again and again and again. Okay. Some of you, if might be in the habit, like if you are music lovers and if you like a particular song, then you play it in loop. This is what the song will run. It's a 5 minute song. It will run from the first second till the fifth minute. Once it gets over, then again it starts from first second. Again the entire song will be played. Then again the third song, fourth song, then third round, fourth round. It goes playing on and on and on and on. So that's what we mean by a loop. Okay, so repeating the code again and again and again and again is what we mean by loop. Okay, there are many types of loops. We will study loops in greater details at a later point, that is on Wednesday. But let us get ourselves familiar to for next loop today. Let us just understand what it means and how it can help us. So now the problem statement is the same. Problem statement is the same, but we haven't really solved it. Today also we will not solve it, but by Wednesday we will definitely solve it. But as a meaningful progress towards solving it, we will learn loop. So I request everyone to open this file loop. Okay, please do this with me. Okay, we'll just do the first loop, only these many lines, then we'll stop for the day. Take up questions with me. Okay, as everyone opened it, maybe you'll have to unblock the macros first. After you unblock the macros, then it will open. Okay, and as usual, you must resize the window. Okay, resize the window so that you can see the commands properly. Okay, this is the same data that we saw in the first example. Okay, I'm not sharing anything new, exactly the same data. And what I would like to do is I'll press F8. Okay, is everyone ready with me? Okay, just open this module for loops, double click, and then you can see loops. And I'll just press F8.
So I'm not able to unblock it.
Just do a right click, close the file,
I
close
did
the
a
file,
right click.
properties,
Yeah.
right click, then properties. And the
Yeah.
last checkbox will be over here, unblock. Okay, if I go for the next file, I can demonstrate. Right click, property.
I got it. I did an unblock, but when I went to file, it is opening the loop data, but I am not able to go to the Visual Basic of it.
So just go to Visual Basic. That is,
I
just go
went to
to
the
Developer,
Developers tab. Yeah.
Visual Basic.
I
first
did
button.
that.
So even for me, I
So
cannot see the
It's blank.
syntax. It's blank.
Any, do you have a Project Explorer on your left side? You might have
Yeah.
closed the Project Explorer. Do you have this Project Explorer on your left side?
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you don't have it, then you go to View and click on Project Explorer first.
Project Sheet 4, it's property sheet 4 it shows, and Project Explorer may it shows sheet.
Sheet
Project
4.
PDA project.
Below Sheet 4, can you see modules?
yes.
So open up this module, and then you have a loops module. Do you double click on loops module?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now you will be able to see the command. Okay, so your program is stored as a part of a module. Okay, it is hosted by a module. So you need to locate modules. There will be modules, you open it, then you double click here, then you see it. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah.
No.
If you can see it now, then you restore the window. Just resize. Okay. And once you start seeing it, then you just press F8. Another idea is this way. You can exercise another idea. Just in case you are still struggling, any one
I
of
got
you,
it. So I got it.
developer, got it. Huh? Sure. So I'll
Yeah.
save that idea for the next idea. Okay, let me come to the execution part. So sub loops. Loops, we have a entire subroutine called loops, and we'll do one portion of it. I'll press F8. On pressing F8, it jumps the first two lines, you know why. I has been declared as an integer, small I, and for next loop is written in green, that's just a comment. And now I have a set of lines which are collectively referred as for next loop. So the first word is for, can you see? And somewhere down in the fourth line, we have this word next. So this from for till next, what you have is a for next loop. We have some more variations at the bottom. Let us, for the moment, ignore them. Let us just focus on these four lines. So the idea is this is your start line as far as the loop is concerned, and this is the end line as far as this loop is concerned. In between, whatever is written will be executed again and again and again and again. So let us take a taste of it. Okay, that's all we'll do for today. Okay, if you have reached till this line, the command reads this way: for small I equal to 2 to 11. So there is a lower limit and there is an upper limit. The lower limit is 2, upper limit is 11. Between 2 to 11, we have to run it. Press F8. Now, when you press F8, what happens? It says for small I. Now, if you see the value of small I, the value of small I is 2. Can you see? After we finish the first thing. So the value of small I is 2. And what is small I? Small I is effectively a variable. You have declared it here, right? Small I is a variable. Okay. Whose value, at least right now, is 2. If you go to any small I, you can see it will show it as 2. And now the next line is defined in an interesting manner. I say cells into bracket I comma 9. Okay. So when I use the cells command uses the syntax row comma column. So ith row and ninth column. Ith row and ninth column. But to begin with, what is value of I? I is 2. So at least at this point of time, this effectively means the cell 2 comma 9. Are you following? It is written as I comma 9, but right now the value of I is 2, so it is effectively 2 comma 9, which is the cell that is the intersection of second row and ninth column. I'm telling Excel at that intersection cell, you pour this thing. Okay. This is being received in that cell. What is being received? A formula. And how the formula is written in a pair of double inverted commas, we have equal to RC square bracket minus 7 into RC square bracket minus 6. Now, here's the command. Command is being highlighted in yellow strip. Keep an eye on Excel. Just see this is the second row and ninth column cell. What happens to that cell? When I press F8, I get this. I get some or the other number. How come this number? Why not anything else? If I come here, if I keep my cell pointer here, you can see this number is actually result of a formula. What's the formula? This is the formula. This is exactly the formula written in the macro, right? Whatever is written in the macro has been put in the cell 2, 9. Yes or no? Now the next one. Next one is cells I, 10. Now we are talking about I, 10. The same row, ith row, but 10th column, another formula. Let's see how does this happen. When I press F8, I get 0. How come 0? This formula. Result of this formula. Okay, are you understanding till here? Hello? Is everybody with me? LHS is a receiver. RHS is being received by LHS. And why it goes to those cells, why not elsewhere? Because value of I is 2. Okay, I have finished as far as value 2 is concerned, and my next command is next I. What comes after 2 on a number line, or at least for us we talk about whole numbers. After 2, what you get is 3, correct? So when I press F8, this 2 becomes 3. When you press F8, your command doesn't go down. Your yellow strip doesn't go down. Ordinarily, it goes from top to bottom, but hold it. Here we are talking in the context of a loop. So actually, it goes behind just after 4. It not only goes behind, but it also increments the value of I. Can you see now I is 3? While it went back, it incremented the value of I. And now I has a revised value 3. There is no compulsion that the variable should carry the same initial value all the while. A variable's value can easily get revised. Okay, so now it has become 3. And what's going to happen? I think you can guess. Now this will, you have the cell 3, 9 in that this content will be 4. So I'll press F8. Are you understanding what's happening? You have the RHS which is being assigned to 3, 9. And again, when you press F8, it gets assigned to 3, 10. Your I value is 3, but if you execute next I, it goes back and now I becomes 4. Are you getting the drift? Okay, these lines will be executed again and again, again and again, again and again till you finish this range. You started at 2, you need to go till 11. Till the 11th row is not over. Starting from second row till the 11th row. Every time the ith value, I has the range 2 to 11, and every time the ith row, the ninth column will receive this, and the 10th column will receive this. Okay, is everyone getting this part? Hello? If you have understood till here, then actually you have got it. So all we need to do is execution. This is kind of repetitive execution. If you press F8, now I'll go a little faster. Just press F8. Goes in the fourth row, ninth column, fourth row, 10th column. Next I 4 becomes 5. Fifth row, ninth column, fifth row, 10th column. Next I 5 becomes 6 and so on. Okay, now there is no new idea. The same thing in repetition. F8, 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 if I keep pressing, comes till here. Okay, and then I has become 11. At some point, you will come here where I has become 11. My range is 2 to 11. Already we have poured it in 11th row of 9th column, 11th row, 10th column. We are through. Now, when next I is pressed, when that is executed, now you don't go behind. You end up going ahead. It's not difficult to understand. Your range was between 2 to 11. Your range is over. Now, if you check value of I, thanks to next I, now I is showing 12. Okay, but were you supposed to repeat for 12? The answer is no. You are not supposed to repeat for 12. You are supposed to repeat only till 11. Now I has become 12. So you escape, you exit. Okay. So this repetition will happen from the starting point till the ending point. The moment you exceed the ending point, moment you exceed the upper limit, you will exit the loop. Till then, you will keep stuck up in the, you will get stuck up in the loop and you will keep moving in circles till it is completely not true. Have you understood this?
So
Is
what
it
is the
same as running
difference?
with button?
So what is the
That is the
difference between the
question.
amount verification which we did and this we have done in the loop?
So it's the same thing. We are not doing. I think that's what was your question. Maybe. So it's the same thing, but we are trying to address the challenge that we could not have it for the precise number of rows. I have not yet completely addressed the challenge, but as a part of addressing that challenge, we have discussed two concepts today. One was variable and the other is loop. Okay, at least whether or not you have understood how it's going to help you, but on their own, have you understood this command for next loop? Okay, how it behaves, how it is going to help me is something I'll be able to tell you only on Wednesday. But given that these lines are written, have you understood their behavior? How they behave? If I write the lines like this, how they will behave? Have you understood that? Similarly, the previous lesson on loop, sorry, on variable. I hope that lesson is also clear to you. How it is going to help us is something we'll see. We have learned ABCD. We have finished from A to Z. Now we must bring together some permutations of alphabets from A to Z, and they will give us some words, and those words will carry some meaning. A to Z, these characters don't carry any meaning, but when we combine them, when we create permutations, then they get meaning. Okay, so we will be progressing. After we learn the alphabets, then we learn the words. As we learn the words, then we learn the sentences. As we learn the sentences, we'll learn how to write paragraphs and essays. Okay, but all the things cannot happen at once. So that's where we have 10 webinars. So today is only the second webinar. So any question till here? I'm not proceeding with the next loop. Next loop we'll see the next time. But if anyone
Can
has any
we,
questions,
yes,
yeah.
can we use range instead of cells that we have used in earlier slides?
Yeah, you can use range also, but I will recommend cells. You can use range. I'm not denying that. Both can be used.
Uh, for range,
Probably I'll
what should
demonstrate
we
it next time. Yeah. So you'll write it this way. Maybe you'll use a concatenate actually. I'll write it very quickly, but probably I'll demonstrate it the next time. Okay, so I'll just write a with range command and just write it. So the same for next loop I copy pasted. So instead of cells I comma 9. 9 means what? Basically J column, right? So range command where in a pair of double inverted commas I'll write what is it? J. And then I'll use small I. This is going to be, sorry, J will be 10. This is going to be I. Sorry, I is the ninth column and J is the 10th. So you can do a concatenate using ampersand. And this is I and I, small I. So that is going to be I2, I3, I4. This will be J2, J3, J4. Like that you can write. This is possible. You can do it this way. But how this works is something we'll see next time. Okay, so I've answered your question, but partly we'll see it next time. Or you can take hints from here and you can venture and you can see whether this works. Okay, any other questions? Let me check the chat. Can't see, can you increase the size of the VB screen? Surely I'll increase it. Okay. Do you want me to maximize? Or do you want me to magnify? I can just use a magnifier also if I can do. Okay, so this is what it is. Maybe you can see this better. Okay, that's your command. Any other question, anybody? Yes. So I will arrange to share the files. I will share both these files. In fact, I'll share this entire set of files once more. I'll send it to Vinayak sir, and probably he can then share the link.
Can I
or
talk
if you
1
have
minute
received
in
the-
between?
Yeah.
I will request those who don't have the files, please write to wrc.admin@icmai.in and we definitely send to you. You write a mail to us, we will send you by mail. Because in first session we are given the link and next session also we will give you the link again. Those who have not got, please send us the mail. We will send you the files. And also pre-recorded videos are available on YouTube. Our channel name is ICAI-WIRC space CMA. You can go there and view the thing. So continue. Sorry.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Can you repeat that email ID?
Vinayak sir, they are asking for the email ID.
And also for the
Maybe
YouTube ID.
you can type it in the chat.
Sir, already written in.
Already typing.
Okay, thank you, sir. We are seeing in the chat. Thank you.
I think many people are thanking, so I think they are indirectly hinting at ending the session. Okay.
Sir, also can you share the
those
YouTube
are
ID
thanks.
again?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So,
Yeah.
Anybody has any question?
Somebody asked about YouTube channel, the name of the YouTube channel.
Yeah, YouTube channel name I will write in chat box. I have mentioned the YouTube channel name. You can go there and you can view the pre-recorded videos. First session of Excel macro already uploaded, and our second series on income tax first two session also uploaded on that. Ashish, continue.
Thank you, sir. So already second session is going very well, and many things about macro we have learned from Nachiket sir. So we are thank you very much, sir. And as already mentioned, YouTube channel is also mentioned by Gulkani sir, and admin mail ID is also sent. Uh, so anybody wants to have a files, this relation files, you can send a request mail. Our admin staff will definitely send you. And recording of first session is already we have put in our YouTube channel, and same link is already circulated in WhatsApp groups. And today's uh, recording is also being uploaded tomorrow or by tomorrow. So thank you very much. And we have our third session on 8th February, day after tomorrow. So we see you all day after tomorrow, and have a good day and good night. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much all.
Thank you all.